government ramps up efforts to boost HPV vaccination coverage to 90%. The government is intensifying its efforts to increase human papillomavirus (HPV) vaccination coverage to 90% as part of a comprehensive strategy to reduce the risks of cervical cancer. During a recent commissioning ceremony in Region 10, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony emphasized the importance of the HPV vaccine and the progress made in expanding vaccination coverage. Dr. Anthony reported that, just 2 years ago, vaccination coverage was only about 14 to 15%. By the end of last year, this figure had risen to approximately 58 to 60%. He stated, "We are making progress. But we want to get to 90% because that is the coverage that the World Health Organization is recommending." Cervical cancer, the second most prevalent cancer among women, is largely preventable as it is caused by the HPV virus. The minister urged eligible individuals, particularly females aged 9 to 45, to get vaccinated to lower their risk of infection. "We are trying to make sure that the vaccines are available and that we get people to take it," he noted. In 2024, the government conducted 12,000 HPV tests for the first time, with approximately 2,000 individuals testing positive, which increases their risk of developing cervical cancer. Dr. Anthony assured that all those who tested positive have been placed on a treatment pathway to prevent the onset of the disease. He also encouraged individuals to take advantage of the cervical cancer voucher valued at $8,000, which can be used at several health institutions. In June 2024, the government launched a $2.8 billion cervical screening program to help offset screening costs for women aged 21 to 65. Additionally, a new national action plan for 2024 to 2030 was introduced last year, aimed at eradicating cervical cancer in the country. Potentia man charged after beating wife and mother-in-law, remanded. A man from Potentia, West Bank Demerara, has been charged and remanded following accusations of brutally beating his 26-year-old wife and her mother, Shamiza Mohammed, who has since succumbed to her injuries. The accused, Parsuram Arjun, was initially charged with unlawful wounding and abusive language directed at his wife, Selina Samaru. He appeared in the Wales Magistrates' Court before Magistrate Rondell Weaver, where he denied the charges and was remanded to prison until February 26. The incident occurred on February 12, 2025. At that time, due to the unavailability of a medical report for Mohammed, Arjun was only charged for the injuries inflicted on Samaru. However, following the tragic death of Mohammed at the West Demerara Regional Hospital, police have indicated that they will seek legal advice on pursuing more serious charges against Arjun. An autopsy is scheduled for Wednesday, and the outcome will inform the next steps in the investigation. Arjun remains in custody as authorities continue to gather evidence and await the autopsy report. More charging stations for electric vehicles as UN launches JET initiative in Guyana. On February 19, 2025, the United Nations in Guyana, supported by the Joint Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) Fund, launched the Just Energy Transition JET seed funding initiative at the UN House in Georgetown. This initiative represents a crucial step in Guyana's shift towards clean energy, aligning with the nation's Low-Carbon Development Strategy (LCDS) 2030. The JET initiative aims to enhance Guyana's renewable energy capacity and promote sustainable mobility. It will offer both technical and policy support through collaboration with the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, the Guyana Energy Agency, GEA, and the Board of Industrial Training, BIT. As part of this initiative, 3 solar-powered electric vehicle, EV, charging stations will be established in key locations across regions 5, 6, and 10. Additionally, a technical training program will be introduced to develop the local workforce, equipping professionals with the necessary skills to maintain and expand Guyana's renewable energy infrastructure. The program will prioritize equitable access to opportunities, focusing on empowering youth, women, and marginalized groups. Nadira Bulram, UNDP's officer in charge, emphasized the long-term benefits, stating, "This initiative will create jobs and new economic opportunities. By equipping a new generation of technicians with specialized skills, we are fostering a workforce prepared for the transition to a green economy." Eraina Yaw, head of IOM Guyana, highlighted the broader impacts on capacity building, noting the increasing need for training in migration, environment, and climate change. Jean Kamau, UN Resident Coordinator, pointed out the initiative's alignment with Guyana's climate goals, stating, "This program directly supports Guyana's nationally determined contributions under the UN Climate Promise, accelerating progress on SDG 7, Affordable and Clean Energy, SDG 13, Climate Action, and SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities." The JET initiative is designed to integrate clean energy solutions into Guyana's national economy, contributing to the goal of achieving 80% renewable energy in its electricity grid by 2040. As Guyana experiences rapid economic growth, the JET Seed funding program will be vital in ensuring that this development is sustainable, inclusive, and resilient to climate change. Teen to face high court trial over Mahdia school dorm deaths. News source Guyana. A teenage girl, facing 20 murder charges related to the tragic Mahdia school dorm fire, is set to stand trial in the High Court. Senior Magistrate Sunil Scare determined that there was sufficient evidence against her to warrant a jury trial. The teen, who was 15 years old at the time of the incident in 2023, is accused of setting the fire that resulted in the deaths of 20 children. The ruling was made during a session at the Mahdia Magistrates Court on Friday. She is represented by attorney Dexter Todd and his legal team, while the state has appointed attorney Lachmi Rahamath as the special prosecutor for the case. Currently, the accused remains at a juvenile detention center. The fire, which occurred on May 21, 2023, was determined by both the Guyana Police Force and the Guyana Fire Service to have been set maliciously while many students were asleep. The blaze quickly engulfed the heavily grilled dormitory, trapping numerous students inside and complicating rescue efforts. Despite the rescue of over 25 students, 19 tragically lost their lives in the fire, with a 20th child dying later in the hospital. The incident prompted a national mourning period and sparked widespread discussions on the security of school dormitories and related safety issues. Following the tragedy, a commission of inquiry was conducted, and the government has reached settlements with some parents of the deceased children. However, other parents have sought compensation through the High Court for the loss of their children. Alliance for Change calls for urgent measures to protect Guyana's territorial integrity and armed forces. The Alliance for Change, AFC, has issued a call for immediate action to safeguard the territorial integrity of Guyana and the safety of its armed forces. This plea follows recent attacks on military personnel at the border with Venezuela by armed gang members. The AFC expresses strong support for the state's efforts and the actions of the Guyana Defense Force, GDF, in protecting the nation's borders. The recent assault on GDF members underscores the significant challenges faced by the armed forces while fulfilling their national duties. To prevent future incidents and potential escalations, the AFC emphasizes the need for enhanced defensive and protective measures. They advocate for the urgent deployment of the recently approved budgetary allocation of $50.4 billion to bolster the deterrent capacity of the armed forces. On the diplomatic front, the AFC urges the government to engage with international and regional allies, informing them of the incident and its implications for Guyana's sovereignty. The party reaffirms its commitment to protecting Guyana's integrity and will support any necessary steps to deter threats to the nation. The AFC also calls on the government to provide comprehensive support to the armed forces, ensuring they have the resources needed to defend the country effectively. In closing, the Alliance for Change salutes the bravery of the soldiers and wishes a speedy recovery to the wounded.